everyone, PureChaosX with another game complete, and this time I'm talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2. I just finished the game a few days ago, as well as Episode Metal, and I have to say I really enjoyed it. It's definitely better than the first one, and is largely improved. Not so much graphics wise, but I think it's the gameplay really that's the way it's different. It wasn't hard. I think the only thing that really gave me any issues was the special stages for some reason. 5 and 6, 1 to 4, piece of piss. So 1 to 5 were a piece of piss, but 6 and 7, pain in the arse. So, but yeah. As for the gameplay, it does seem to be more faithful to the original Mega Drive series. Unlike Sonic 4 Episode 1, for instance, spin dashing off a hill or a cliff, Sonic would stop spin dashing and just plummet. Whereas in Episode 2, you spin dash off a ledge and he will literally go to spin. Instead of just stopping and falling to his death, he will just continue going. So that's much. So the gameplay already is much better. He seems to pick up speed a lot faster as well, and he doesn't sort of slow down while rolling, but instead he picks up speed as he should, much like in the original. So it seems to be a lot more faithful to the original as well, which is good, because obviously Sonic 4 Episode 1 was largely criticised on the way that it just doesn't feel like a normal Sonic game. You know, I mean, it had the speed and everything like that, but the way Sonic moved just felt a bit so it didn't do much good. But Sonic 4 Episode 2, much improved on the way Sonic moves, which helps no end. Actually, because of that, I enjoyed it more than Episode 1. Of course, one of the main differences, obviously, the inclusion of Tails the Fox now, and of course Metal Sonic. Tails the Fox is pretty much the same as he was in Sonic 2, where he just follows you and shadows your moves, but he does seem to be a bit more helpful in this. You know, I don't know how to explain it or why or what it is, but he does just feel a lot more helpful. So that's a plus point for having Tails beside you, which is good because unlike Sonic 2, you can't turn him off, so you have to have Tails throughout. He can fly like he does in Sonic 3, and he can take Sonic with him like he did in Sonic 3 as well, and he can do the swim. He can swim and carry Sonic. He does seem to have a bit of an inconsistent flight time. If you mash the button, he'll get tired in 2 seconds and start to fall. As if you just tap and then let Tails glide down, and then tap and then let him glide down, he'll last a lot longer. So you have to save Tails' energy to make it across gaps, because I have died numerous times trying to fly Tails over gaps. Ends up getting too tired too quickly, plummet, death. Oh no! That's not very helpful. But he does seem to swim almost infinitely. So if you're swimming, you can usually just bash the button and Tails doesn't get tired. But he does seem to get tired ever so quickly while flying, unless you don't try and preserve his energy. So, and of course there's Metal Sonic. You do see him a couple of times throughout the zones. He's the boss on White Park Act, or the White Park boss act. You see him in Sky Fortress Act 1, and the boss on shit, I can't remember. Oh, well, he's in the game and you fight him a lot. So like episode 1, the game consists of 4 zones and 7 special zones and 1 final zone. I think Act 1, the easiest one, is Sylvania Castle, which is kind of like a ruins, an underwater ruiny kind of place, a bit like Aquatic Ruin from Sonic 2. You then got White Park, which Act 1 starts off as a snowy, Christmassy act. A mixture of ice cap, I guess, with the snow from Sonic 3, with a bit of Christmas lights thrown in. I don't recall a Christmas zone or Christmassy zone in any Sonic game. So I can only, it just reminds me of Christmas nights. Act 2 goes into like a roller coaster level, which again I can't remember seeing in any Sonic game, so I have no idea what that reminds me of. And I think Act 3 was back to the snow level, a la Ice Cap. That's nice. I do like the music in Act 1. So I'll get back to that. Zone 3 is Oil Desert, which I can only assume takes its inspiration from Oil Ocean from Sonic 2, because of the oil, and the sand from Sandopolis on Sonic Knuckles, because it also has sand. So, like a culmination of those 2 zones. Then there's Sky Fortress. Act 1's definitely Sky Chase, where you're in the plane, or the biplane, the tornado. Tails is flying, and you're on top, and you're basically getting from one place to another. Chasing, or Metal Sonic chases you, actually, and you're chasing the Sky Fortress, or Wing Fortress. Act 2 and 3, you're actually on the Sky Fortress, or Wing Fortress, which is basically just the Wing Fortress, the same kind of layout. You've got the propellers and everything, and you've also got the badniks that were in the Wing Fortress, which I can't remember what they were called, but it is just basically this Wing Fortress. And there is a, what would you call it? There is something in Sky Fortress, which is those light tubes. There's those like ring light tubes that go wee, 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 wee. So they're in Act 3, and they're from the Death Egg Zone in Sonic and Knuckles. So so far, every level from Sonic 4 Episode 2 has been from Sonic 2, 3 and Knuckles. Only they look nicer. But yeah, it's kind of like a combination of many of the different levels from Sonic 2, 3 and Knuckles, just looking a little differently, but they definitely take their inspiration from the older games. Then you've also got the final zone, which is the Death Egg, which again I would assume would be more reminiscent of the Death Egg from Sonic and Knuckles, since the Death Egg in Sonic 2 was nothing more than a corridor, and then Silver Sonic, and then Robotnik. So it takes its inspiration from the full level from Sonic and Knuckles. So that's good. It's good, and it's also got the same anti-gravity, flip you upside down, running on the ceiling, confuses you, makes you sick feature as well, much like the Death Egg Zone in Sonic and Knuckles. So again, definitely lots of things coming together from all the older games to work with Sonic 4 Episode 2. I wonder what Episode 3 would look like. And then you have the Special Zone, which clearly takes its design from Sonic 2, because the special stage in Sonic 4 Episode 2 is a half pipe, exactly similar to Sonic 2's. This one, it seems to be easier. You're moving at a slower pace, unless you're boosting, so you can more time to react. The rings, bombs, and those weird electrical things seem to be a lot clearer as they come into view, which is a good thing, because I've always hated the Sonic 2 stages. They were the bane of my Sonic games. I even found Sonic 3 special stages easier. Another good thing actually about the special stages is that Tails, although he does sometimes get hit a lot, like he did in Sonic 2's special stage, he doesn't seem to lose rings when he gets hit. It's only you that loses rings, which I don't see how that's fair. You should have made it so that you don't lose rings either. But no, that's definitely a good thing, considering how much of a tit he is in Sonic 2, constantly getting hit. But yeah, he doesn't seem to lose rings in Episode 2, so that's good, that is. But yeah, than that, special stages, I do like them, actually. As I said at the beginning, special stage 5 and 6 pissed the fuck out of me. I swear to God, between them, 3 hours of constant restarts, just because I couldn't get enough rings. 5 rings off, I was 1 ring off, 2 rings off, I was always so close. And then restart. 3 hours total, just constantly restarting. But yeah, zones 1 to 5, piece of piss, no problems. I didn't always get the emerald first time, but I'd never had to do more than 2 restarts for a special stage. So that was text message. So that's good. Yeah, but special stages, I like them. I don't like the Sonic 2 ones, but I do like Episode 4's. So, without spoiling the game too much, I would just like to take little something about the end boss, the end of game boss. I thought it was pretty epic, actually. I definitely preferred it over Episode 1's final boss, where you had to fight every single fucking boss in a row, and then fight the Robotnik, or whatever the freaking thing's called. The end game boss on Sonic 4 Episode 2 is one boss, which is thankful, and it's simple, it's short, it's fun. The one thing I didn't notice when I first started playing is that it was apparently supposed to be the heart of the Death Egg, because Robotnik's machine is like a heart, and you could actually see it beating, which I did not click, and it wasn't until I read it somewhere that it is like the heart, because it's got the blue and red things on it which look like the veins and everything like that, the tubes. So that was good, but I liked it. It didn't piss me off. It didn't make me want to kill people or anything like that, like the episode 1 did, because it was every single boss in a row. I liked it. It was fun. It was not hard, thankfully. Easier as Super Sonic, obviously, but the boss itself isn't difficult. It's not easy. There are points at which you will get hit if you're not careful. You can do it without getting hit, obviously. I think that's also an Avatar award if you do it without getting hit. So, but it's a good boss. I liked it. Nice end of game boss. Music. I loved every single zone, every single act, because every act has different music for its zone, like Sonic 3, so no 2 acts are the same, basically. I've never really had a Sonic game where I've disliked the music, actually. Sonic music has always been pretty awesome to listen to. I do have 2 favourite tracks, though. The first one being White Park Act 1. I don't know why I like it. It just sounds so jolly and jaunty, and it's fun to listen to. I think I've actually made it my mobile phone's ringtone, so yeah, that's how much I like that. And I think what I like more than White Park is actually the end game boss music. It seems to suit it pretty well. It's as epic as the boss itself, and I like listening to that one. I probably should make that one mine. But yeah, Sonic music, always awesome, actually. Yeah, I've never said, ew, that sounds horrible to any Sonic music. What can I say about that music? It has awesome music, and I hope to be able to find the soundtrack for it somewhere. If I can, that will get uploaded to my website along with all the others. Once I've actually finished uploading the hot file. But yeah, I'm still on the lookout for a soundtrack. So once I've got it, I'll upload it somewhere. The difficulty, not easy, but it's not hard either. You could probably make it through, as I did, without losing all your lives. I think I did come close to losing them all, for a few reasons. One, oil desert. Fucking hate that stage. I think it was Act 3 was the main issue. When you were in those towers and it was filling up with sand, the point at which I had to wait for the sand to rise in order to bounce through like 4 barrels and then make it to the other side as it's still filling up, and then go, the point at which I didn't realise I could actually use tails to fly up through the barrels, which would have saved time, but I didn't think about using that. But I'd always keep getting crushed under the sand and the platforms, so I think that's where I lost most of my lives, as well as there was an area in Sand Desert where you had to use tails to fly, and the wind would push him, but I would never make it in time. I'd usually just keep ram past the fly button, and he'd get knackered and I'd fall to my death. There was the oil desert boss, pissed me off a lot. Although it tells you where the crates are going to fall, because it has arrows pointing downwards where they're going to fall, you never seem to be able to get out of the way in time. And every time you do jump out of the way, you always manage to jump to a spot where one is literally just about to fall down and it hits you. It doesn't matter how fast your reactions are, you jump from one and then all of a sudden you get crushed. That's kind of where I lost most of my lives as well, until I got the hang of it and just concentrate. Just concentrate on the arrows that point downwards that tell you where they are. And then just jump, 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 jump. And eventually you can get through it without getting hit, which I did once. Just once. And then there was the second part to that boss where you were all the way up the tower, and Robotnik, or Eggman, would jump back and forth before jumping on you. Which all I know is I knew I had to do the 69 roll, whatever people call it, but I didn't know where or how, or I knew they had to do it when he lands on the path where you are, but I hit him once, could never do it again. Every time I went to do the rolling combo, he'd get back up and start jumping again. I was like, stop it! And after time he'd crush me and I'd die, and etc, etc. So my biggest life losses came from the oil desert zone. But other than that, obviously Sylvania Castle is pretty easy. There are a few bottomless pits where you do have to be careful to slow down, but sometimes if you're quick enough you can rescue it by having tails fly you up. But on the whole, Sylvania Castle, easy. White Park, again, the first one is easy, Act 1. Act 2, where you're on the roller coaster, and this is not bad. There are a few places where you can probably get crushed if you're not fast enough. But other than that, Act 2 shouldn't cause you too much hassle. Act 3 pissed me off. You're underwater. Well, did you start underwater? I can't remember. But you are underwater a lot. And aside from obviously the drowning problems, you do have these robotic walruses? Walrus? That freeze themselves. They're a big block of ice around them. And if you get hit, or if you're too close when they're freezing themselves, you'll get hit. And you have to make it around them either before they freeze or after they freeze. And there is a section where there's like 8 in a row, like 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, that you have to swim through with tails. And if you don't make it, you're fucked. There's no way out as far as I can tell, and you just have to sit there and wait to drown. So you have to fly past the freezing walruses as they freeze. So, too slow, you're fucked. Fast enough, you're safe. Oil Ocean, as I've just mentioned, fucking pissed me off. Not lots of sections, but sections where you have to have tails fly you over, and if you don't know where to land or how far you need to go, you could fall and die. There was the towers that filled with sand. Again, you have to be quick, otherwise you'll get crushed. Other than that, it's, for the most part, it's normal. It's okay. But again, you just have to be careful of bottomless pits and crushings. Sky Fortress, Act 1, it's like Sky Chase, probably a little bit harder, because you do have platforms you need to jump on. There are star posts which you need to move to get to, which I think Sky Chase never had. And there is one section in, I was about to call it Sky Chase actually, in Sky Fortress, where you have to jump off the plane, walk along a few platforms, and then use enemies and the homing attack to proceed. I think I died a few times there as well, just because the homing attack, either I wasn't close enough to an enemy to homing attack on it, or I'd homing attack, missed the enemy, and I'd plummet to my doom. So that was annoying. But while you're on the Sky Fortress, the only thing to watch out for are the badniks. Again, I can't remember what the fuck they're called. But there's usually more than one, and the other one's like off screen. So for all you know, you wait for the first one to shoot, you jump up to homing attack, but the other ones have also shot, and you'll get hit by the other ones, the missiles and whatnot. But other than that, Sky Fortress, okay. Death Egg Act 1, that only has one act. It's relatively simple. I think I made it first go, didn't die. It's actually pretty easy, actually. And then obviously you got the Death Egg boss. Again, it's surprisingly easy once you know what to do. I was lucky in that I'd actually watched someone's playthrough, so I actually kind of spoiled it for myself. So I knew what to do with that boss. So I kind of ruined that. But yeah, again, once you got the hang of it, easy. So all in all, not hard. It's not easy. You will probably lose a few lives as you go through. There may be moments where you just want to tear your hair out in frustration and things like that. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's a nice difficulty. The special stages will probably piss you off no end, but learn the rings, learn where they are, learn where the bombs are. You'll do it no problem. Of course, and also there's the difficulty level of the achievements. I can only assume this will be the same for the trophies. I just own the Xbox 360 version, but the achievements seem to be a hell of a lot easier than episode 1. There's no upload a time for every zone achievement, which I do apologise. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any achievement for having to upload a time attack score, a time attack time for every act, which is going to be impossible now, because obviously with all the fucking cunt hackers on the leaderboards that prevent people from actually uploading their scores, because if you can't beat your previous score, then obviously you can't upload that time. And as far as I can tell, there's no way to upload your time manually, so it only does it automatically once you beat that time. But thanks to the hackers that were on episode 1, fucking wankers that they are, people couldn't upload their times, or they couldn't. That's what I've experienced anyway. So I can't get that achievement for episode 1 because of all the douches on the internet, on the leaderboards that hack their times to 9,999,999. Obviously making it a little bit obvious that they're cheated. And I just wish these hackers would piss the fuck off and leave the leaderboards. The #1 Sonic fan, I'm sure we know who he is. He calls himself a Sonic fan, and yet he ruins the Sonic games for everyone else. It's just sorry. The hackers just annoy me. They just ruin the thing for everyone else, and I wish they die a slow, horrible death, but you can't have everything. Yeah, back to the achievements. So there's no achievements like that, which is good, and most of them do seem to be relatively easy. The only ones really are upload a time for a multiplayer, which you either have to have a second player or second controller. Obviously you can do that on your own, but if you have neither, you're screwed. The ones like the red, I can't remember what the achievements are called, but red ring collector, where you have to collect all the red rings. It can be easy. Just obviously look for videos on YouTube or whatnot for where they are. The only problem with them is it's time consuming. Again, collect all emeralds. Can be easy if you know the special stages. Again, just time consuming. The one that I think is a little bit excessive was I Love Tails. Play as Tails 50 times. Once you've completed the game, you're unlikely to play the game 10 more times, so why Sega thought to do it 50 times for Tails? That's monumentally time consuming. I'll have to do that with a second controller and myself. So that should be simple, but massively time consuming compared to all the others. The one I'm currently struggling with is, I think it was called Ring Collector, where you had to collect all the rings on the first stage. Or have I done it? I don't think I've done it. I haven't done it. I can't seem to get them after the third, or after the second checkpoint. Well, basically, it's the last section before the end. I just can't seem to react quick enough to get Sonic where he needs to be to get the rings, which is annoying. I must have tried for like 2 hours. Restart. And I can't fucking do it. So I gave up. So I'm still trying. Other achievements that just pop into my head. A Golden Flash. Is it Golden Flash? I could be totally wrong. Basically, you just go beat all the bosses as Super Sonic. It's actually pretty easy because there are enough rings, obviously, on the boss acts for you to turn Super Sonic. So that's easy. The only one I had a problem with was Oil Ocean, because I kept getting hit by the crates, losing all my rings. And it's quite difficult to collect 50 rings again once you get hit by the crates. I mean, there are three groups of rings as you go up, but you just have to make sure not to get hit or turn Super Sonic until you're at the last phase of the boss. Other than that, I found the other ones actually pretty easy. It was just Oil Ocean that kept fucking me over. What was the other one? Endurance Race. Playing through the whole game without going back to the world map. Simple, but again, I say it a lot, but time consuming. Easiest on either your first playthrough, I guess, or as once you've got Super Sonic. That will just be so fucking simple. Personally, I haven't done it the first time, so I'm going to do it as Super Sonic and just play through the whole game in one go to get that. I can't remember any more achievements, or how difficult they sound, but yeah. But yeah, other than that, the game difficulty seems to be okay. It's challenging, but it's not. It's not so bad that you just want to go choke a puppy. And the achievements, you just need to put a bit of time into them, that's all. Easy, not hard, just time consuming. But they're definitely doable, unlike the first one, because of all those fucking hackers. Yeah, so yeah, overall difficulty, good challenge, good challenge. I'm gonna just mention a little bit about Episode Metal while I'm there. If you have Sonic 1, if you have Episode 1 and Episode 2 together, you unlock Episode Metal, which shows you the events after Sonic's CD of Metal Sonic and how he came back. It's pretty. It's I don't know what you call it. It's a very short episode. It's 4 acts long. Well, it's 4 zones long, but 4 acts long. Basically, it's one zone, or each zone from episode 1, and then having 1 act from each zone. So it's all 4 acts, all 4 zones, but just 1 act each. And you play them in reverse order. So it's Mad Gear first, Lost Labyrinth, Casino Street, and Splash Hill. So it goes in reverse order. And then at the end of episode Metal, you see him blast off on the rocket before they go to meet Sonic and Tails on the tornado. Each act, it's slightly altered, so it's not the same as the first game. They are actually a bit trickier. I think was it episode Metal? I think it was episode Metal where I died twice on Splash Hill, because there was a waterfall which I assume would have normally had a bridge, but didn't, and I fell down it twice. So that was funny. So the levels are backwards and they are slightly altered to make them a little bit harder. Metal Sonic plays pretty much exactly like Sonic. He runs fast, he jumps, spin dash, homing attack. The only difference is that obviously he looks different, and instead of running, obviously he's boosting along the floor, a bit like Super Sonic would. But other than that, there are no boss fights, so it's literally just one act, done. It took me, I've uploaded the playthrough to YouTube as well, and it took me 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes. That's very short. It is literally though it's just a little freebie, so it's not bad for just a little add-on here and there. But yeah, but no, it's pretty good. It's short, it's sweet, it's just a little extra for loyal fans who bought episode 1 and 2. So all in all, is it worth it? Yes. I do love the game. I definitely like it above Sonic 4 episode 1. It's much better, much improved. It does feel as though Sega has listened to their fans about what Sonic 1 was not very good. Episode 1 wasn't very good at, and what should be improved in Sonic 4 episode 2. So they've done a good job, very good job. It's a good game. It's not, as I've said several times, it's not easy, but it's not hard. I think it's a normal, even level of challenge. Even if you've never played the first episode 1, it's still easy enough for you to enjoy it and for you to get through the game without wanting to tear your hair out. The achievements, again, pretty simple. They just need some time and effort put into them. The only problem I have is the difficulty of 1 or 2 levels, as I've mentioned, the fucking oil ocean. I don't know why I have such a problem with that zone, I just do. I think one of Sylvania Castles and White Park are underwater, and I hate underwater levels. I absolutely hate them. I don't like them. I don't like the drowning music, and I don't like drowning, and I just don't like water levels in particular in any game, especially ones where you can't breathe infinitely. I fear drowning. But the game's relatively easy. The achievements just need some time put into them. 1 or 2 levels may piss you off. They piss me off, but you may be better at them than I was. The only other issue I have are the hackers on the leaderboard. I don't know, at least, I mean, there's only, at the time of recording, I think there was only 2 on there. The number 1 Sonic fan 2, who's a fucking dick fuck, and I can't remember the name of the other guy, but at least there's only 2 on there, you know, it wasn't like 30 for episode 1, so, but they're still there, and that pisses me off, as it stops people, especially the guy at number 3, from being number 1, where he should be. So, and they do that for every single act, score attack and time attack, and the 3rd place player, who should be first, he's denied that. So everyone's denied their rightful place on the leaderboard because of these fucking douche hackers. And it's just no matter what Sega or Sony do or don't do. Did I just say Sony? For the PS3 version. Sega, Sony or Microsoft, no matter what they do, that dickhead just keeps coming back. Just find a way to ban his Xbox or something. Not his game attack, because he just makes new game attack and new profiles. Ban the Xbox. Try and find a way to ban the console itself. That would be good. But other than that, the hackers on the leaderboards and the difficulty of 1 or 2 stages just threw me off a little bit. I was just so yeah. But on the whole, good game, awesome game actually. I liked it better than Sonic 1 Episode 1, Sonic 4 Episode 1. Much improved, much better. Definitely download. I think it was it 1200 Microsoft points? I'm not sure the PS3 cost, but I think it was either 800 or 1200, I can't remember. But it's well worth it. And the inclusion of Episode Metal, if you have Episode 1, is a nice little free addition. So again, that's good. On the whole, awesome game, and I recommend it.